deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at Easter Seals.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
When we heal from our traumas,
when we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 41, Friday partly sunny with a high near 54, and Saturday partly sunny with a high around 68. Make it a night to remember at Crooner's Supper Club. Incredible live music, 4-star food, handcrafted drinks, and first-class service, all in the classic supper club setting. Don't miss out. Visit croonersmn.com to plan your perfect night out. That's croonersmn.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, any cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. We discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. Hey, we have our friend, State Representative Heather Keeler, coming on in just a moment here, and I just want to give a quick shout out to my tribe, my nation, Ho-Chunk Nation's Founders Day today. And in 1969, the Constitution started, and the legacy of the leaders who have helped build the framework of the nation's modern governance. And I just want to give a shout out to Ho-Chunk Nation. They do such a great job. I'm going to bring on our friend, State Representative Heather Keeler. So good to see you, State Representative. Thank you so much for coming on. I know this is such a busy time of year, and I really, really appreciate you for coming on and with all the updates.
Yeah, well, it's I'm happy to be here. It feels like there's a lot of updates on a weekly or daily basis. And so thanks for making some space for me to join you.
I appreciate that. So we have a lot going on. We have bills being presented, and schedules happening, and long days. And how are you holding up besides running for running for another office too? That we really support and are glad that you're doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I would be lying if I said like I'm not exhausted. I'm not full of all kinds of emotions. But it feels like a very worthwhile cause. Every day that we're out talking to people on the campaign side, people are finding hope in finding candidates like me. On the official side, it feels really frustrating. As you know, we've talked, the House is in a tie, and we are in the part of session that we are hitting some of our deadlines. So next week is the last week that we're able to hear policy focused bills. Right now we're hearing, the governor's budget and some governors and agencies ideas are, so just it kind of launches us into this next phase of the session, which can get pretty but I think there's a couple of reminders for all of us that like we just can never end up in a tie again. And so getting out and participating in democracy, really making sure that you engage and support candidates up and down the ballot. And so we just don't end up in situations where we cannot get any good things done for Minnesota. That sort of feels like, Robert, where we are right now in the legislature.
Yeah, it must be frustrating, and I know you've reached over on the other side to get things done, and that's still really really hard to do.
Yeah, I've said in a couple places, it feels like some of these exact same people who I've been able to work with across the aisle to do bipartisan work over my 6 years there's just really not a willingness to do some of that. I have been hearing bipartisan bills all year in the hopes that we can try to do something. A lot of that has been around education and addressing attendance, having conversations about dual enrollment and PSEO and just some of these things that like community's been asking us to talk about for a long time. And we just can't really even come together on some of those things because it feels like, the House and the Senate are both up for re-election this year. And I think that there's always just some weight that plays. We have a lot of people retiring from both the House and the Senate. I'm not sure of the total number, but I know it feels like there's many of us. Either we're retiring because people are just getting out of politics altogether or retiring because we're running for other positions. And so I think that's also making a bit of a difference in how we're able to move legislation this year.
Wow, and then you live quite a ways from St. Paul. How does that work for you? I mean, you're missing your kids right now. You have a business, and then nothing's happening. So how frustrating can that be?
Yeah, I think what I try to tell myself is there's always opportunity for education, stakeholder relationship, and sort of building up like, what is our next movement? What are the things we need to do? I know that my main has always been food access, making sure we work towards ending homelessness, making sure we protect and support victims of violence and sex trafficking, healthcare access, education equity. And so I think though we maybe won't get a bunch of legislation passed, there's a couple wins in all of it that make it not feel like, I guess, worthless or not worth my time, but we're educating about things that really matter. We're building new momentums and coalitions around the work that kind of needs to happen in the next 2 to 10 years. I mean, there's always a forward focused mind frame, but we're also like just sort of learning what we for sure don't want to happen to us. Like the Republicans are showing us what they would do if they were in charge in Minnesota. And I think that's a very clear thing that we have to take into consideration, really see if that's the Minnesota we would want to lean into. And so it's definitely like an opportunity to learn and educate ourselves about where we want to go, and maybe where we definitely don't want to go in the future of Minnesota.
Well, how does this feel? Does this feel different? And you just mentioned too that you've been doing this for 6 years. Does this feel really different this year because of a lot of the re-elections and things and people leaving the House and the Senate?
I think this year feels very different for a bunch of reasons. I mean, first is that we're in chambers without Melissa Hortman, and that in itself is very, very hard to go into this work and see her desk. And our chamber staff does a really great job at keeping roses on her desk, and we love that. It's also the reminder of what has happened, you know, like that we are sitting across and looking at people who, you know, maybe just don't feel the same way about the things that have happened to us in Minnesota as we do. So like we lost Melissa. There was, you know, we had a horrific shooting at an Annunciation school. We had murders on the street with ICE. And so it's hard to sit in spaces when we're just so divided on how we should be treating ourselves in a humane way. And that is making it very hard. That different. I've never gone into a session where this much harm has happened to us in Minnesota. And so I think that's what makes it different. It's also crazy to me how, you know, the Minnesota GOP just can accountability for what the federal government is doing to us. Like, it's almost like they're just pretending no retaliation from the federal government. There's no mistreatment or wrongdoings here at the hands of the federal government, you know, and that's really also very, very hard to be.
Yeah, Heather, I'm wondering because I'm not getting you very clear. I'm wondering if you mind turning off your camera, because I think that might help out a lot too. And we're going to take a quick break. We are here with State Representative Heather Keeler from the great state of Minnesota, and this is Native Roots Radio. We'll be right back after this short break. Please stay with us. Ho-wah. Aho, this is Robert Pilot. For Native relatives, healing is more than just sobriety. It's reclaiming Indigenous masculinity as a sacred, balanced force. Join Hunter Thundercloud for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. We explore how personal recovery uplifts our communities. It's time men step back into roles as mentors and spiritual leaders. Recovery is collective, and it starts with us. Tune in the first and third Wednesday of every month at 6 p.m. for Native Roots Radio presents Controlled Fire. Let's tend the fire together. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's more than spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including Indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds from the Cheyenne and Arapaho nations, and Jim Demeny from the Ojibwe Nation. Additionally, film screens, cinema, and performances are shown on stage. And the Walker is free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis Air dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis Air on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and we are with our friend, State Representative Heather Keeler. Thank you, Heather, for stopping in. I know you're busier than heck, and I really appreciate your insights too about what's happening at the Capitol and all those things. So, again, I really appreciate you stopping in and talking with us, Heather. Heather, can you hear me?
Okay.
Heather's having some. There you are.
Can you hear me okay, Robert?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay, great.
So, yeah, I just was saying how I appreciate you coming in with all the things that you got going on, and I really appreciated that insight of how the Capitol feels right now, and kind of disappointing of we're not getting work done because of whatever reason, and the denial of what's happening to us here in Minnesota. That was amazing conversation that we had.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's one thing to stand firm on party lines, and there are things that we, do that on. And then there's things like feeding people and access to housing and making sure that kids can go to school safely. Like, there's just some things that you would think we can come together on, that we've been able to come together on in the past. And people are just firm on party lines. And I think that's sort of what happens in a midterm election year. And there's a lot on the line. We're seeing a lot of, like I mentioned before, we're seeing a lot of people retire, and on both sides of the aisle. And I think for many reasons. And so it's our opportunity to fill these seats with the people that we want to serve us, from the backgrounds and the professional and personal perspectives that we want making decisions for us. And so I think that's something that we should really lean into, and support candidates up and down the ballot so that we can get Minnesota in a good direction.
Yeah, and how are I mentioned too a little bit about your son and missing your son and being down here in the Twin Cities. That's just got to weigh heavy on you. I know he's getting older now. How old is your youngest now?
Well, I have a 9-year-old and a 19-year-old. And my 9-year-old, this is all he's ever known. Like, he's growing up in a world where he sees his mom and others like really be able to use their voice for change. And I have said kind of my whole life, I'm a sort of a different kind of mom. I'm built different. I burn cookies all the time. I'm not great at Valentine boxes. All of that is maybe not what I'm great at, but I am really fierce and fighting for my next generations. And so my youngest, we know we miss each other, and that's a really big part of this, but we always have a foundation and an understanding that we as a family are really leaning in to try to make a positive impact. And I love that my youngest has been a part of that almost his entire life. And my oldest is now, as a young adult, out in the world, being bold, talking about things that really matter to him and the people that he, is living around and playing sports with. And so I miss them a lot. I say this, it is a pure sacrifice to do this work. We don't get paid very much. I'm not able to work my business very well right now because I'm doing a lot. But I think what makes it all worth it is when I ran in 2020, I said, I did not want to be a mom who just vented on social media. I wanted to be a mom that could look my kids in the eye and tell them I did everything I could to make this world a better place for them and the generations that I don't know yet. And I still feel like I'm on a mission doing that. And so it sits good in my heart, though I miss them terribly.
Yes, I can't imagine. One of the things too that you mentioned, and which I think is really interesting to me, is that he's 9 years old, and what we've been dealing with federally, and now trickling down locally to the state level with this upside down world of political engagement. I guess is one of the ways to put it, and it's interesting that even your older son, in the last 10 years has not really seen I don't know if it's the government working correctly or if it's just the civil discourse has really gone out the window. And this is not normal, but it's normal to them and what they see now.
Yeah, I mean, the difference between just the environment of conversation that my older son was raised in and then my younger son, I think the difference is, my oldest was growing up in a time when like saying awful things about each other was just not okay. Like we were still living in a time that like you should be kind to each other. You can't like say really horrific things. My younger son is growing up in a world where the kids he goes to school with hear adults and parents just talk really awful about other people. And we're seeing that trickle down in things that kids say and the way that kids act towards certain kids. And that is really troublesome to me because I've been saying for a long time, what the adults say, really the kids hear and they see that, and we almost train our next generation. And it's why leading with love has always been my mission, because we can talk bad about each other or get really nasty. That's an easy thing to do in politics. The hard thing to do is be kind and uplift each other and bring community together. And so I hope that by the way I've tried to do this work and share message in the community, that at least in my own home and in my own community, my kids and the other kids around me at least see me do politics in a different way, because it is vastly different on how they both were raised and grew up in society for sure.
Yeah, we really have to really switch that up in the next few years, and it saddens me to hear this because I know nothing's perfect, but really it's been unbelievable what's happening to our young ones and what they're hearing and what's happening to them and then the next generations. Thanks goodness too that you're going to be running for another office. Can you talk a little bit about that and reach out to our listeners about how they can support you, because it's a big climb and you're working full time and you're got a full time part time job and you're a mother. How can people help support you?
Yeah, well, I'm running for Congress in the 7th Congressional District in the hopes to unseat Michelle Fischbach. Congressional District 7 is basically the entire west side of the state, 38 counties. It's massive. This is my plug. Like when the census comes back around, we need everybody to fill that out and make sure other people do. And the only reason I say this now is because we were so close from a population perspective to losing a congressional seat. And if we did that, the geographic spread of our congressional districts just gets so big. It's hard for candidates to effectively campaign and serve their constituents and voters. And so, yeah, it's hard work. We're doing our absolute best. We're in the middle of convention season. It is a DFL contested endorsement race. And so we have that convention the end of April. We are in a really big fundraising push right now, as everybody knows. Like, it's easy to send millionaires to Congress. I am not a millionaire by any means. And so Keeler for Congress is where you can go to make donations. You can sign up to volunteer. We've done postcard parties while I'm here in the cities. You can do phone banking. There's just a lot of things that we can have some volunteers help us do. And if anybody knows of anybody who lives in Congressional District 7, let them know that I'm running, and just let them know that, they should give me a shot. They should listen to the things that I have worked on and the goals and the, momentum that I would like to take to Congress. And so Keeler for Congress is how you find us. And just trying to be a voice of power, professional background, political understanding, that can go to Congress to be a voice for those of us who have maybe been overlooked for some time.
Well, I appreciate that. And it looks like, too, we got less than a minute here with you, Heather. And again, I really appreciate you coming on. It looks like, too, that I follow you on the socials and that you're having a great response by the people that are showing up to your talks, and I just saying kudos to you. It looks really good, but you got to really keep pushing and get the support.
Yeah. Yep. It's an everyday effort. And I tell people it's got to be more than just me. We really have to get into this together. And so encourage everybody else to engage. I've been telling people it's time now to find courage within yourself to step up and do something bigger, do something for your neighbors, do something for your community, your state, or your region. We need good quality people being in these places. And so I'm doing it. I'm stepping out of my comfort zone. I'm sacrificing a lot to try to give inclusive representation. And so just want to encourage listeners to do the same. Drink water, take care of yourself, and run for something.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you so much, State Representative, for coming on, and keep up the great work. And we're all watching you, and we're all out there rooting for you here on Native Roots Radio and all across our networks.
Thank you so much. We have to do a symposium sometime.
Yes, we should talk. Yeah, text me. I think that's a really good plan. Maybe very soon, especially before the caucuses.
Yeah, no, that'd be a great idea. Let's get other candidates on and just start talking about what we're doing across the nation.
Sounds great. I will definitely get that going. Thank you so much, State Representative Heather Keeler. I do probably get some points for being able to say state representative instead of state senator. Thank you so much, as always. Have a good night. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio, and we're going to be right back after this short break. Stay with us, please. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Local artist Rosie Simas, Seneca Nation of Indians, Huron Clan, embodies Onondaga philosophies of peacemaking and relationality in new immersive installation. Visit Age Jagwa Desnigowaweni. I hope it'll stir your mind and explore a space built for communal rest and contemplation. Simas presents a performance of the same name this May. Learn more about the exhibition and performance at walkerart.org.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Did you know that the Walker has a cinema that shows film almost every week? From artist talks, genre-defined performances, and world premieres to archival shorts and experimental soundscapes, the Walker Cinema explores all modes of global and local filmmaking. Get your first tickets for free. Visit walkerart.org/cinema to learn more. That's walkerart.org/cinema. See you at the movies.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
On March 5th, 2026, JR Broadcasting, LLC, licensee of KTNF 950 AM, St. Louis Park, Minnesota, filed an application with the Federal Communications Commission for the assignment of license. Members of the public wishing to view this application or obtain information about how to file comments and petitions on the application can visit publicfiles.fcc.gov and search in KTNF's public file.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Support comes from the Walker Arts Center, an art space that's more than the spoon and cherry. Galleries celebrate contemporary visual art, including indigenous artists like Edgar Heap of Birds from the Cheyenne and Arapaho nations, and Jim Demeny from the Ojibwe Nation. Additionally, film screens, cinema, and performances are shown on stage. And the Walker is free every Thursday night and free every day for citizens and members of tribal nations. Learn more at walkerart.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies tonight with a low around 41, Friday partly sunny with a high near 54, and Saturday partly sunny with a high around 68.
Dinosaur World is taking over Children's Theater Company for an immersive tour where you can feel the roar. Get ready to face off against a massive T-Rex and see what it feels like to get sneezed on by a Triceratops at Dinosaur World. Dinosaur World runs through April 5th, and you can find tickets and more info at childrenstheater.org.
Hi, I'm Jane Fonda, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
And we're back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and this is Native Roots Radio. Hey, we have our friend Ruth Ann Bufalo on, and it's so good to see you, Ruth Anna. Thank you so much for spending some time with us and really talking about the great work that the organization that you lead does. And I really love to amplify what you guys are doing. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, no problem. Dosha and Madzagadads, thank you for having MIWRC on the show.
It's crazy because you guys are always working. I just ran into a couple days ago. You were working, and it's just amazing. And I really want to just say Native Roots Radio community here really wants to give you a shout out in your organization about the great work that you've been doing and that they've been doing for the past 40 years. So a big Peeny Gigi, Ruth Anna, thank you so much. And let's talk a little bit about what's going on. I know there's a lot going on, and you do so much for the community, and there's so much going on. Let's talk a little bit about what's coming up this next week.
Sure, thank you. Yeah, there's lots of activities. Today was the first applique class session from noon to 4, and the second class will be tomorrow from noon to 4. Tonight from 6 to 8, we have an online Zoom meeting on women's teachings. And then on Friday evening, also we have a storytelling session in person on site. And we're just coming off of, I think it was about 5 or 4 consecutive days of overnight emergency last Saturday. And so right now we are kind of taking a break and pausing the Thursday and Friday breakfast meal program that we have. So yeah, there's lots of moving parts, but we are thankful for the community support. We will have a spring market April 17th, and we may have a cakewalk.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, and yeah, just preparing for the month of May with American Indian Month kickoff parade, and just looking to find ways to continue to support the community, looking at more youth-based activities potentially in the evening, and just a lot of partnerships for sure.
Will this parade have floats? Is this the parade that has floats that you guys are former champions?
Yes, it is.
All right. That's awesome. So you guys are working on that. What float you're going to put out there?
Yeah, we're waiting on confirmation on what the theme is going to be this year. And I'm told it'll be, we're waiting to hear from the youth. I believe the youth and maybe elders too kind of provide feedback on what the theme will be. So we're patiently waiting for that news to be announced.
And then you'll get going on the float. That's awesome. Yeah, do believe, is it May 5th that the parade's going to be? I can't remember off the. I should have it on my big calendar, but I don't right yet. I think it's well, we'll have time to tell everybody.
Yeah, yeah, I got enough time.
Yeah. So what else is going on? I know one of the things that we've been talking about for a long time, and that I think started before you took over this great organization, is that the housing upstairs from Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center is full now, or is almost full.
Yep, it's full now. We are at 24, and so we have 24 units, 12 on each floor. And our focus is this time around based off of the funding sources, singles or outward facing singles. So we have a lot of single parents or parents who are working to get towards a better place in their life, of more stability to where they can be reunited with their children. So it's sort of a stepping stone, I would say, for many of our relatives. But the focus is high priority homelessness and long-term homelessness. And we help provide support services and also through partnerships. So we have a lot of new activities coming up that are geared towards the tenants, but are open to the public. We just had our first cultural night on Monday, and it'll be every other Monday at 6 p.m. Pending availability. We also, shift when we can to support our community partners who also have some pretty amazing talking circles scheduled for the next 2 months or so. So yeah, we are full at capacity, and it's been a huge process in educating the community too on what the process is, because 20 of those 24 units must go through coordinated entry referrals to get to us. So there's a process. We can't just like sign people up, or you can't just show up and then you get assigned a unit. I mean, we wish it was like that, but there's a process that we have to go through. So 20 of the 24 units must go through Hennepin County's coordinated entry system. But once you get into the coordinated entry system, please tell your case worker or your case managers that you would like to get to Oshki Gakia at MIWRC, so that way they can make a note of it. Hennepin County, I believe, prides themselves, which is a good thing, rightfully so, that not every county has this option where you can check culturally specific. But so there's that option too, but so yeah, the starting point.
Yeah, understand. Yeah, one of the things too, I always want to ask you, Ruth Anna, is how are you doing, and also, are you taking care of yourself, drinking lots of water, and maintain and keeping strong, because there's a lot of action going on in all different directions, and especially with ice. But there's also things that happen in the community that are not always good, and I just want to reach out and make sure that you're taking care of yourself in a good way, and talk about that a little bit.
Sure, yeah. Thank you for asking. Yeah, I try to, get enough sleep and rest. But it's hard to yeah, you got to pace yourself for sure and any kind of work. But yeah, it's a lot at times. There's a lot of responsibility and weighing on your shoulders, because there's people relying on you for, their economic stability, as well as trying to help the community the best way we can, move from just surviving to thriving, of course. And so yeah, I try to get as much rest as I can and eat healthy when I can. But yeah, I did go through a spurt of being really sick for a while. It seemed like it just wouldn't go away, and it's back again. So but yeah, I think for sure I'm gonna start exercising a little bit more since the weather is changing.
Yeah, get that basketball hoop in there, and we can play. I'll come over and play horse with you.
Okay, yeah, that'll be good. And yeah, we really strive to focus on not only, the community and family wellness, but also our own individual wellness too. So
Hmm.
oftentimes gets overlooked, but yeah, we're constantly looking for ways to improve upon the services that we offer, and also just inwards, like how can we ourselves improve as people or as individuals too, or how can we be better relatives, or just because it's these are interesting times that we're in, and it's important to like give each other grace and also give ourselves grace too, and understand that people that walk through our doors are probably maybe 10 times stressed out than we are, or even 10 times more stressed than the average person because of their living situation or lack thereof, and so support
Yeah.
one way for sure.
One thing I want to ask you too is, can you talk a little bit more about? I saw the applique, Ho Chunk's applique or applique people too. Can you talk a little bit about what they're doing in the applique class?
Sure, I believe it was very popular. It filled up quickly, and another one of our other courses that was coordinated by our traditional healing practitioner George. The applique class is coordinated by Zawin, but those two, like the two different classes, I think the last one was uh, rattle making. That was a popular one, and then hand drum making was a popular one. So they accommodated the community's request, or high demand for it, and added a second additional class. So the same thing with the applique. I believe it's beginners, but it's really working one-on-one with the learners and just trying to support the learning curve there. But it's a good starting point for sure.
Do Are we beating applique, or are we just cutting it out and learning about it? Is that what the class is about?
It's beginners, so they are sewing, I believe, hand sewing. So
Oh, ooh, yeah. Well, I got an applique shirt that I want to make, so that sounds like a good thing. I know one of the classes that you had was really filled up too, is when they were doing that ledger art. That
oh,
was amazing too.
yeah, that was a pretty good one. I know they usually have also an annual, or we usually have an annual eagle case, like a eagle, to hold your eagle feathers, um,
Uh-huh.
plume or single feathers. They have a case making class too that's been pretty popular.
Dang. And is there any cost to these classes?
No, nope.
Whoa.
No,
I need to I need you to let people know how they can find out about this, but also how they can support Minneapolis or Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center.
sure. Our website is www.miwrc.org. And to donate, it's miwrc.org/donate. But yes, we definitely welcome donations and links. We have links on the website. We have links on our Facebook page and Instagram. Our Facebook page is all in caps, and it's MIWRC. We also started sort of like a soft launch to looking for funding to support the work that's already been done or being done in our programming and in our services, is a new like a workforce development program called They Take Care of Themselves. And there's many different points of entry for services to receive services through MIWRC. We have a lot of interest in community volunteers, unpaid volunteers. And so if you do well and it's a good fit, we then would recommend the next tier, or the next step would be a paid stipend contract worker. And then from there, it would move to potentially full-time employment. So it's been pretty successful, and we just want to try to uplift the relatives and provide additional support in the community. We have Metro State interns that have hosted a couple resume building workshops. I believe they're going to be hosting some more too, maybe like public speaking and, just some soft skills.
Yeah. Hey, Ruth Anna, can you hold on for just another quick segment for a couple of minutes to finish up on this thought? Because that's some really great information I want to get out there. Is that okay?
Yep.
Right on. We're here with Ruth Ann of Buffalo, and we'll be right back after this short break. This is Native Roots Radio. Support comes from the Walker Arts Center. Local artist Rosie Simas, Seneca Nation of Indians, Huron Clan, embodies Onondaga philosophies of peacemaking and relationality in new immersive installation. Visit Age Jagwa Desnigowaweni. I hope it'll stir your mind and explore a space built for communal rest and contemplation. Simas presents a performance of the same name this May. Learn more about the exhibition and performance at walkerart.org.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
We are your relatives,
We are your relations,
brothers,
sisters,
sons.
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
Homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. We are with our friend Ruth Ann of Buffalo of Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center. I keep on wanting to say Minneapolis. I don't know why. But you were just saying a lot of really cool information. Do you mind bringing that up again? Because that was pretty heavy duty and to end the last segment. Do you mind, Ruth? And welcome back, by the way.
Yeah, we have had a soft launch to a new workforce development program, and it's basically kind of recognizing or acknowledging the work that has been done already or that has been ongoing. But we went through the protocols and things of trying to make sure we're doing things in a good way. And so the name for the program is called They Take Care of Them. And so it's really trying to find ways to support individuals towards a path of sobriety and also economic stability. And it's, nothing new. It's what's been going on in the community already. And so we want to help support those efforts as well. We know that we have to be really creative with the limited budgets that we have. And so we have adjusted and found ways to support people who need support. So it kind of last year as a result of the warming center, where we had a lot of volunteers come in and then additional funding came our way. And so we were able to provide small stipends to the helpers. And so we want to build off of that and keep it going because it's a good, clear pathway to supporting the community, supporting families and the individuals. And We really just want to uplift and amplify those who are, and everybody, really it's not, to be exclusive, but it's a starting point, and we want to help support people who are making changes in their life for the better towards healthier behavior changes. And so we want to help provide that support for sure.
That's awesome. So is there training involved with that too? And also what I suppose giving direction where there is training too.
Yes, for sure. We have, like the regular kind of workplace trainings. We have annual sexual harassment training. We have communications training. We meet every Wednesday for a weekly check-in with our full-time staff and then our contractors, stipend contractors. So it's a pretty large group, and we want to, find ways to be sustainable with the work. But I mentioned earlier, 2 Metro State interns have been providing resume building workshops, and so we just want to find ways to support and partner with the community. We know American Indian Family Center in St. Paul was hosting some pretty cool workforce career development sessions as well. So we had volunteered to provide transportation. We have partnered with AICDC last winter and hope to again this year for a de-escalation training. We partner with NAC. They provide like a quarterly Narcan training for us, but always open to new ideas and suggestions to help. But I mentioned like those soft skills too, like customer service or just that kind of things that would help in the workplace too, that are, essential to have things run smooth and have good outcomes, really that service delivery, just trying to find ways to help the community move forward and be a source to provide recommendations to individuals. And so, yeah, we know that workforce development is so important. I spent 7 years at a tribal college and also used to lead a summer youth employment program for 4 consecutive summers with my tribal nation back home. So definitely have a strong interest to help people get to the next level in their lives for sure.
Well, and sometimes to get to the next level, you need those kind of reminder classes to get to feel more comfortable about getting back out there, and so that's really cool.
Yeah, there's so many good resources in the community, Dakota Institute, DIW, the Indian Center. I mean, there's just so many good support systems there. And so we just hope to continue to build off of what's already happening and continue to help maybe fill in the gaps together in meeting the relatives where they're at through different conversations on the street or on the ground, especially this past fall. Heard from a lot of young Native men that are out on the streets, who are willing to sober up to try to help protect the women on the streets and,
Mhm.
trying to find ways to make the work sustainable and keep everybody focused on the task at hand for sure.
Well, I appreciate you and appreciate you staying on for another segment. So, will you please again give our listening audience how they can find out more about and support your organization one more time?
Sure. Our website is www.miwrc.org. If you would like to donate, it's www.miwrc.org/donate. And there's different options there, drop down options like for the Emergency Warming Center or for even the new workforce development program that recently received a name called They Take Care of Them. So,
Mm.
mods.
That things are just happening there, and it's just great to see it growing. And you know, I just I'm really great, and it sounds like with all the people that you're working with, that the community's working together, and it's strong, and it's there to help our relatives that need help. And so again, big kudos to you, Ruth Ann Buffalo, for all the work that Minnesota Indian Women's Resource Center does.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, and just looking forward to continuing to partner with the community.
Right on. Thank you so much, Ruth Anna. Have a great night and stay safe and stay hydrated. Ho! All right. Wow. That was our friend Ruth Ann of Buffalo. We really appreciate her. You know, she used to be a North Dakota lawmaker. She was, and now she's here working in the Twin Cities, and we really, really appreciate her and all the work she's done. Again, I want to give a quick shout out to my nation, my tribe, and just talk a little bit at the end here about, you know, it's Ho Chunk Day is like what I like to call it, but it's Founders Day here in 1963. Ho Chunk Nation became a thing, and I just want to say to all the people that helped with that, big peeny gigi, you'll never be forgotten, and I appreciate it. Hey, thank you so much, everyone, for listening to Native Roots Radio. We'll be on tomorrow, and we'll have State Senator Mary Kunish on as always. Thank you so much. This has been Native Roots Radio. If you're listening to us, you are part of the resistance. From Chief Plenty Coops, the ground on which we stand on, it's sacred ground. It's the blood of our ancestors. We need to resist, divest, join a group, run for office, and vote. We're still here. We are the seventh generation.
The city of Minneapolis